I'm Gerald Keaney. Welcome to Keaneysville.
When it gets too far, gotta lose your rights. When it gets too far. Gotta lose your rights.
The idea of destructivism is the idea that art tends to freeze frame moments of perception, and these then become amenable to having a price tag attached to them. Destructivism seeks to overturn this particular reification or denial of process by reintegrating the creative moment into the entirety of the human experience.
Lots of artists have used just words. Sort of started in the 60s. I didn't really start in the 60s, but there's a powerful movement in the 60s called concrete poetry, which was basically just about presenting words physically and that kind of stuff. And I guess why I was attracted to it was, all the kind of art that I was making and still do make is just the attitude that everything is art. So the less that something looks like art, the more chance it has of being art. And the most typical response of what art is, do you paint portraits or landscapes? So having just a word, I think, is can really shatter some people's opinions of what art is and reinforce some people's opinions that art is crap. A pivotal moment in my life was learning about Marcel Duchamp when I was in high school, because I felt that I already had a lot of his ideas, and I was like this teenage Gold Coast schoolboy and he was like this famous European artist. He wanted to turn painting back to the service of the mind because he felt that people were just sort of looking at painting as objects, and rather than sort of, inspiring people to sort of look a bit deeper and just trying to make people think, I guess. So I've never had anything painted over before.
Isn't this a conceptual minimalist intervention by the council? I think it's quite good, actually.
I think, yeah.
Not as good as the original, but
Well, it was part of an exhibition called Space Project, and I had 6 real estate signs, which had stencils on the back of them. One was a face of Osama bin Laden with a microphone, rapping or something. I don't know what he was doing. And then the text in between said, "You can say whatever you like, but who will hear you? I mean, really hear you." And on the other, there was another face on the other end, and that was Shane Warne. There was a beautiful stencil of Shane, and I just thought that that'd be giving something back to the community. That's something that they'd be able to be in touch with, but I guess they just don't like people doing things without permission. I think the thing about street art as well is you sort of, I'm constantly meeting people who don't know that I've painted the things that I have around the Fortitude Valley and stuff like that, and people, when they find out, go, "Oh, that's great, I love that." And so, and I see graffiti, I guess, around, and I think, I love that, that's great. And so there are all these artists out there who, like, if you have a show, you know how many people go to the show, you can sort of judge the success of it, but when it's out on the street, you got no fucking idea of how many people see it and how many people appreciate it.
the problem with gallery art is that it's segmented off from the rest of life and carries that implication that creativity is somehow a specialisation, or somehow a social activity which is segmented off from other social activities or separated off from other activities, just as in the same way it winds up separated off from in the human soul. Okay, so I'm going to be creative now, but now I'm going to go to work, now I'm going to do the dishes. Yeah, I reckon if you can make a critique of what's going on in terms of the limits that are placed on creativity and demand those limits be pushed back, well, that'd be a good way of looking at the way in which, for instance, the mass media is used. This is my interpretation of Sebastian's stuff, but for instance, the mass media is used to push a very certain message instead of mass communication being used to actually further creativity and hence negate these kind of differences between the hack journo and the artist. One's the creator, the other's the sort of like tower of the party line. And that's what I think we have to do. Either we push back the limits or they push us back.